I mean, we can't. Don't we have Bobo? I mean, he's here. Surprise! Sorry.
Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I preview Georgia's matchup with the UAB Blazers. We talk through what we're looking for in the game, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, we'd love for you to check out our presenting sponsor, Oxia Time, at OxiaTime.com. That's AXIATIME.com. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. All right, so I know it's going to be a couple days later for everyone else, but it's fresh for you and I because it just happened. So, I'm gonna pour a drink for Nick Chubb. Prayers out to him. Hopefully, he's able to recover from that. That was pretty gruesome. So apologies. It's fresh for us. It just happened.
You hate it. You hate it for him.
Yeah. That stunk. That stunk. Not a good way to get us started on a Monday night.
Literally as you're getting ready for the podcast.
Right. Yeah. I know. Will texted and was like, just killed my vibe tonight. And I was like, yes. Agreed. Man, I wasn't watching the game. And I heard about it, just from texting and was kind of scrolling Twitter and unfortunately saw the video of it on Twitter. I wish I hadn't looked at it. It came up twice. Second time I had to look away. So
yeah, I think we should just delete that from the internet forever.
Yeah, seriously. So I've gone with the long branch tonight. No significance. I couldn't come up with anything of significance for UAB week. I couldn't come up with an angle anywhere. So just went with a bourbon that I like. So went with Long Branch. So this one's for you, Nick.
Yeah. Well, he was a special one. I've got Prince and Mercier or something like that. It's a Canadian whiskey that is aged in Mizunara casks.
Yeah.
And if you are following whiskey, the Mizunara, I guess you could call it a trend going on right now. Like it's kind of weird, but like everything is aged in like Mizunara. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but Mizunara oak is like super rare. So Nick Chubb was a rare one because these have to age. The trees have to age for like 200 years before they can even be harvested to use in a cask barrel.
Interesting. I had not heard of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Well, we'll try. We'll try to be happier. Sorry, I got us off to a somber note.
I can throw out some more fun facts about the Mizunara, but
that's next. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So let's see. I guess before we go into anything UAB wise, we did get a game time announced for the Auburn game. So coming up for next weekend, Auburn has a 3:30 kickoff, so we'll be on CBS again for the second time already this season with the short, lower amount of CBS games thus far. Something we didn't even talk about last week that we were, or maybe we did. I don't know. It was the first CBS game of the last season of CBS. We were on last week, so we'll get at least two more because we know the cocktail party is also already slated for CBS. I'm sure there'll be others, but we know at least those two.
Yeah, I appreciated it. I know that there are others out there that probably did not, but anytime you're on CBS has historically been special, and it's even more special because it's just getting rarer and rarer.
Yeah. Let's see. So I know what you had. You're coming in hot from baseball, right? Baseball season's in full swing.
Baseball season is in full swing, and we've lucked out. We didn't have any we didn't have any rainouts this week so
Okay.
far.
Okay. Nice. I guess the rain impacts the baseball more so than say Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, seriously.
So have you decided you're still up are you still up in the air for Saturday? Do you know yet?
I'm still up in the air.
Okay.
I'm gonna kind of biggest hurdle is the transport after a post game. So we're heading to Asheville this weekend. But if I can sort out like staying in or around Athens for a relatively decent price, then I can just leave from there to go the next day. But we'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you got the fall break rapidly approaching, right?
Correct. And we're taking two cars, so that was the other thing. So
Mm.
that made it even more of a likelihood, or better than zero chance.
Got it. Man, yeah, we don't get the fall break, even though we've done this like school calendar switch here in North Carolina where we're going back earlier. Still no fall break. So I feel like we need to rectify that. But I don't know. Still not there.
Right.
We've got some upcoming days off of school though. So I will say for the game that looms large, I don't know if I told you this, like we don't have school that Friday. So shaping up well to be able to come down early and hit the Hard Grit Library exhibit Friday before Kentucky. So still a possibility.
Yeah. I like the planning. I like the planning. Are you gonna try to check out Jason Hasty?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. So we've been trying to clear the schedule. I was saying that I was gonna have Lily skip school, and then I realized there is no school. So hey,
Ooh, even
bonus.
better. Oh,
Didn't
it
even have to
sounds
worry about it.
hashtag omens.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, why don't we do our rundown with the matchup? So we've got UAB on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. So started with this 4-game homestand and the second one under the lights, and an even later start this time. Georgia comes into the game 3-0, 1-0 in the SEC. UAB comes in at 1-2. They've played all non-conference games. They are out of Conference USA, but they've played all non-conference games thus far. Dogs still number one in the AP and the coaches poll. UAB obviously not ranked. And we've got the game is on ESPN2. The radio call, as far as we know, will be Scott Howard, Eric Zier, and DJ Shockley. No word that Eric Zier has another surfing contest. I haven't heard such things, so seems like he'll be back in the swing of things this week. And then the official hashtag that I doubt we'll use is hashtag UAB versus UGA. All-time series. We have played these guys before, so again, not a first timer. Georgia leads the series all time 3-0, with the most recent game being in that first national championship season in 2021. And
How many of those games have been at 7:30 at night, Jim?
ooh, I don't think either of the other ones were. I'll say so I was at 2 of those 3 games. The 06
They're always
game,
nooners.
the 06 game, I didn't know I wasn't there. I remember watching that from a sports bar in Alpharetta. And that 06 game was Matt Stafford's first start as a Georgia Bulldog, if you remember that.
Interesting. I believe I was there watching from the 300 level. Actually, you're kind of around where your seats are currently at.
Gotcha. I was gonna hit on this stuff later, but we can continue on this thought. So that was the 06 game. In 2003 was the first time we ever played these guys, and we played them in October. We beat them 16-13.
Maybe that was the one I'm thinking of, because that sounds like it was more. That sounds more reasonable for when I was actually in school.
Yeah. So that was I was first. That was my first non-student season for me. After post. That was my first postgraduate season, I guess. That game I was at, I just don't really remember it. And the crazy thing is we won that game 16-13. And then the following week we lost to Florida, but at the same score. So we had back-to-back weeks of 16-13 games. One we won and one we lost. I thought that was crazy. I don't remember that. Yeah. And then 2021, right? So 2021, we mentioned that in the first Natty season, the game where famously Carson Beck, we thought was going to get his first start and didn't. It was the return of the mailman. And he kind of never looked back. I know he didn't. He didn't. I think there were 2 games after that he didn't start. The JT started, but that was when he started to kind of take hold.
Right. And here we are, full circle.
That's right. That's right. Back at it for Carson. So hey, now
I'll be
he gets
shocked
his.
if Carson's not starting.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. He gets his chance to take down the UAB Blazers. Weather actually looks amazing. Low of 59, high of 82. But with the 70 or 7:30 kickoff, I'm assuming the temperature will be going down a little bit. I know our guy Logan Booker was even posing the question like, will folks need a light jacket or a quarter zip or something for this evening game? That'd be pretty sweet. So
if it's like it is tonight, it's kind of chilly.
Yeah, for sure. So that would be awesome. So that's it. That's it for the matchup. JP, that's what I got there. So
that's what you got.
I believe you do have some UAB focused fun facts.
I do have some UAB focused fun facts. So I have a realization today. So this is the second school that we're playing on our schedule that is a university of insert state here. So like and as we've seen on the I guess it was is it waiting since last Saturday that kind of started the theme of referring to UT Knoxville and UT Martin. So
right.
We now have to refer to Alabama as Alabama Tuscaloosa. Because this is the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Agreed. I like it.
It's the same thing. They actually, if you look at the university seals, they're basically the same, except for Tuscaloosa has a different bottom number or whatever, but like the image is basically all the same. I found that kind of fascinating. So UAB has been around for a while. They are largely known as a medical university. That's how I had always thought of them, like as nurses, doctors, that kind of thing. They're actually one of the most respected research universities in the country for that purpose. A couple of things that stuck out on what I found was UAB pioneered a couple of different procedures that you may come across in your lifetime, unfortunately. One is if you've ever had a filling before, they pioneered the process that I guess a process that started worldwide was they called it forehand dentistry. So it's a process where the dentist and the hygienist work together to do what they need to do with your teeth more efficiently.
Got it.
They pioneered that process. The other thing they pioneered was an endoscope, where you can actually look inside of an organ and things like that. So endoscopic surgery, all that kind of stuff. Like the endoscope process is something that they pioneered back then. I don't know the dates.
That's okay. Dates. We can live with it.
Those are just some fun facts. A couple of like famous alumni, like unless you came across some, I ended up like looking at a couple of different lists. One was suspiciously absent from a lot of them, but was on a list, so I can't really speak. I read it on the internet type thing.
Okay.
So Roddy White, if you're a Falcons fan, went to UAB. Probably one of the more criminally underutilized assets that the university or that the Atlanta Falcons had in his prime. I know there's a lot of upset folks that were mad that he left.
I could be wrong, but I feel like he played for UAB in one of those matchups against them.
I'm pretty sure he did back in the Rick years.
Yeah.
The other famous alumni, Stevie Wonder actually is an alumnus of UAB.
No, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
that was the one that. So when I looked up famous alumni, that one
Hmm.
didn't come up, but I did read it on the internet on one particular website that
Okay.
had a picture of him speaking at commencement. So maybe it was an honorary situation, but
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Okay.
Um, music and music and theater and things like that were also like kind of big for UAB in the early years. But like I said, a big facet is the hospital, the university hospital, that got folded into the whole program and platform. And interesting, that particular hospital. Other fun facts. As we know, Birmingham in the South, and Birmingham specifically, in the South in general, in the '60s was a not so nice place for people of color and African Americans. Racism, segregation, all those things were going on back then. But the hospital itself was very much segregated. There was a white and a black. It was actually like one of the last things at the university at UAB to be integrated was the hospital.
Hmm.
Um, but you may recall, if you've seen Selma, or if you are a history buff, is the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing.
Hmm.
Was a pretty famous bombing that kind of became a home base of operations for Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement. Um, that was obviously in Birmingham. The four little girls that died in that attack actually ended up at UAB's hospital, and the people that were injured in the attack were also treated at the hospital as well. So
Hmm.
um, there's a little bit of connection to some of the civil rights movement with this school, obviously as well.
Right.
Um, they had uh, they had an astronaut also that was on one of the Columbia missions that became the first optometrist from the university. And I don't have the gentleman's name. Terrible note taking on my part, but they do claim the first optometrist from the University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Got it. Nice.
Okay, so other things. So it technically didn't become a university full blown until like the 70s. Um, the and in that time period when they did it, they had a pink dragon was their mascot. They've always been the Blazers, however. So one of the things that they wanted to be known for is being trailblazers in the academic field and academic world. So they have always been known, even before they were a full-blown university, as the Blazers. But they didn't get a full mascot until 1970, I think it was. But anyway, that mascot was a pink dragon
Hmm.
named Blazer. Um, that mascot lasted for a brief period of time. And let's see, where was my notes?
I believe that was one of the nightmare fuel pictures you sent me too.
That was 1,000% one of the nightmare fuel
You're
pictures
gonna have
that I
to
sent
tweet
you.
out. You're gonna have to tweet out the mascot pictures again, like you
Yes,
did
yes, yes.
with Ball State.
Yes. Okay, so I misspoke. So yeah, 1970. It was 1978 when the Pink Dragon served as the first official mascot for the UAB Blazers. That
Okay.
was a debut for a basketball team, which, as I'm sure Jim, you're on the basketball side of this. UAB is a pretty big basketball school, right?
Hmm.
So that was 1978, but then he was short-lived. In 1979, they unveiled a new mascot, whose name was Beauregard T. Rooster. And he is a giant rooster looking character, which dons none of the color characteristics that you would typically associate with UAB. That guy, Mr. Beauregard Rooster, Mr. Rooster, he was the mascot through the 80s.
Okay.
And I guess that in 1993, they unveiled a new mascot, the Blazer Warrior, which looks like if the king from Burger King was a Norse god, um, that would be the characterization that I would give for what this mascot was.
That's
Um,
that's very accurate.
for whatever reason, I don't have a whole lot of details on this. I didn't have a lot. I didn't care to really research much more, but his 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 tenure as the official mascot was less than 6 months,
Okay.
because of a lot of outcry from the students and faculty. Apparently, they were not happy with the Norse god, um, and from they basically went mascotless until 1995, when Blaze, a basically dragon, was unveiled. Blaze the dragon. So that leads us up to, and he has various iterations, nightmare fuel all along the way. But that leads us to today, where you see the dragon as the official mascot, and it doesn't sound like they have wavered off of it. So I don't know what it is with Alabama schools and having like mascot like turmoil, and
Yeah, seriously.
being
Yeah, make up your
conflicted with
mind,
their
guys.
mascottery. But
I
yeah, I
I
don't know what's going on there.
I was just trying to figure out like what it is. So I googled what is a blazer, like what is a UAB blazer, and I got this. Came back from Wikipedia. It said that in January of 1978, a campus-wide vote bestowed the nickname Blazers on the team, hoping that the teams would blaze a new trail in college athletics.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Uh, yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, I did confirm. Stevie Wonder is an honorary doctor of music.
Okay, I've been hanging on edge, John, the entire time, wondering what was going on.
Well, it just so happened that I did have that note.
I have to acknowledge something because I think Fletcher Proctor or UGA Hoops Mafia are probably yelling at their podcast player because you mentioned the basketball thing. There was a Georgia UAB basketball connection in Channing Tony. Channing Tony was a Georgia basketball player who transferred back in the day, before the transfer portal era, and played finished out his career at UAB, as I recall. So there's that. And the other connection I had was going the other direction. I don't know if you remember Jake Gaines.
Jake Gaines, yeah.
Yeah. So he was when UAB, like when their football program was disbanded and they stopped playing for a few
Right.
years, right? They all needed a home. He came over, and I looked it back up. He led the team in tackles in 2015 in Rick's last team. He also had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. And he's currently the head football coach at Moody High School in Alabama. So another UAB Georgia connection.
Nice. Well, there's a number of UAB Georgia connections, then, because as you look to the as you look to the actual game itself, right? There is a UGA connection in this game.
In the
Do
game itself?
you? Yes, in the game itself. Do you have any? I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Kirby mentioned it on the press conference.
So I think I know. Is it their offensive coordinator? Is that where you're going?
No, but I do have something on their offensive coordinator, which we'll get to in just a second.
I was going to talk about that too. Then no, then I don't remember. No, I listened to his press conference. I forgot.
So he mentioned Eddie. Eddie was with us for a long time. UAB's offensive line coach, Eddie Gordon, had been with UGA from 2019 through 2022.
Okay, got it.
So he was with UGA in their entire national championship run.
Got it. Yeah, I missed that. I do remember him saying that now. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It's kind of interesting because Trent Dilfer, we'll get to him in a second, but he's amassed a bit of an interesting he's got a nice set of coaches here for sure. They at least have some good pedigree.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the next connection. Alex Mortensen is the offensive coordinator. Does that
Yes,
name sound familiar to you?
it does. It does.
Okay.
Do you want me to? Shall I answer the question?
Yes.
Son of Chris Mortensen, the
Yes.
I would say legendary ESPN reporter. I would say,
I would say legendary.
he was a huge part of my youth. Always heard him. I don't know if you remember. He would be on like locally in Atlanta in the early 2000s. He was on Buck and Kincaid like once a week. He would do the Mort report, and he would come on and give them NFL news. So I always really liked Chris Mortensen.
Yep. I agree. He was definitely he was definitely a big part of that. But I feel like maybe I'm totally misremembering, but wasn't he like a big baseball guru? I
Chris
feel like he would.
Mortensen,
Yeah.
he may have been.
I feel like when I think back on watching Sports Center, I feel like Chris Mortensen would always talk about baseball. But yes, Alex Mortensen, his son, who is incidentally from Atlanta as well.
Saw that. Do you know
Um,
where he played college football? I've got a connection
uh,
for you.
Chris Mortensen.
No, Alex, where his son Alex played, the offensive coordinator.
Oh, where? Oh, you know what? I did look this up, but you probably have it in your notes because you're a much thorough note taker
So
than me.
he went to Arkansas initially, and he actually finished at Arkansas, but he transferred away and came back. And the connection there is when he transferred away, he went to Samford, alma mater, a friend of the show and recent surprise birthday party haver. Paul
Man, he's
Muchnick.
got three episodes in a row he gets to mention. Fancy,
Exactly.
fancy
Exactly.
boy.
So that was my note. That was my note there.
I'll give you another interesting connection, particularly with the coaching staff and the whole national championship run.
Mhm.
There is another connection, not directly, but more indirectly, with one of the teams that we played in the national title runs. Their tight end coach Riley Jeffers. He was most recently a part of the Ohio State Buckeyes staff.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, apparently this entire coaching staff largely was assembled through a combination of he had this Lipscomb Academy, which I didn't really like investigate much, but I guess that Trent Dilfer kind of built this Lipscomb Academy into a powerhouse of sorts.
Yeah.
That's how we got to start. I'll give you another, for instance, another fun fact, specifically regarding Trent Dilfer. Um, he is famous for starting something. Do you know what he started in the football world?
Yeah, I was
I'll
say
give you a hint. It's along the lines of recruiting.
okay. Yeah, I was gonna say there was some quarter. I know he used to do a quarterback thing. I feel like I could be wrong.
Mhm. You're red hot, Jim.
Okay.
You're red hot. He actually founded a little small tiny thing that you may have heard of called the Elite 11.
Okay. Okay. I was started to say it, but then I started to doubt myself.
Yes.
I definitely wouldn't have like known that offhand though.
Yeah, he helped start it, I guess is what I should say.
Got it.
But yeah, obviously he's known as a big a big quarterback guru. He won the Super Bowl. He's definitely a storied he comes from a storied lineage, right? And so
Yeah.
he's amassed the staff. His offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator were with him when he built the Lipscomb Academy. And he's just recruited other coaches alongside him. So I'd have to say that if you were on the outside looking in, like assembling a coach, pulling from national powers, UGA and Ohio State would be a smart move, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, I had if I feel like we're kind of tipping our hats. We don't have a whole lot to say about this game. We kind of wanted to dive into some of this stuff. I know we got
What are you talking about,
questions.
Jim? This
Yeah,
is
I
this
know.
is
I
hard
know.
hitting analysis.
I know. Why don't we? I'm gonna run through the press conference notes pretty quick, and then we can get back to this ton of stuff. So although we hit a couple of things, but so Kirby did say this is he said that Ron Corson told him this is the longest injury list we've had. He said since we've been here. So since Kirby has been the head coach. So not really the warm and fuzzies there. We were curious about Amarius Mims. He sprained his ankle and needs tightrope surgery. Sounds like that's similar to what was done with Lawson Lucky. So he's going to be out. He's out for multiple weeks at least. Roderick Robinson, we had talked about that he only had the one play. He's got a high ankle sprain. Expect him to miss time. And then Kendall Milton confirmed it was his MCL. So we'll see how long that's going to take him out. Not on Kirby's injury report, but one additional. Shout out to Frip Dog. So my dad is having surgery tomorrow. So we can add my dad to the injury list. So I know by the time folks are listening to this, that'll be over and done. For you and I, John, it's tomorrow. So my dad's having his shoulder and bicep repaired tomorrow. So shout out to my dad, Frip Dog. We're hopeful to get him back.
Shout out, Frip Dog. I hope that you're on the mend soon, sir.
What's the progress? What's the how long? Hey, coach, how long is Frip Dog going to be out for?
It's outpatient. It's an outpatient surgery. So it's mainly going to be like rehab, PT. So no word yet on if he's going to go see Paul. Sorry, I just have to do that again. Okay, we can continue.
No extended time away from the tailgates.
Right. Yeah. So that was it. That was it for the press conference. Those were the notes that I grabbed. I guess I don't know. Shall we talk about the game, John?
I guess so. We have this. Vegas obviously knows something about the last several games, which worked out so well for us.
Yeah. So just a few people to call out for when Georgia has the ball. So talking about the Georgia offense. So for UAB, it was a little tough. Like I had to just go through, look at their individual guys. I tried to look at like Conference USA and see if they had any guys up near the top in any defensive statistic categories, and wasn't really finding anything. But safety, Keandre Swoops is there. He's tied for leading tackler with 19 tackles. Also tied is linebacker Jackson Bratton. And Bratton also has 2 sacks. And they got a couple of guys with a pick, cornerback BJ Mays and safety Chris Bracey, each have an interception. I did notice both of them had their one interception was run back pretty far. I think Bracey ran his back, not for a touchdown, but had like a 50-something yard return on his there. So,
okay.
But I think the thing here is just going to be looking at Georgia, right? And the injuries, shifting things around. I know we got to see Edwards come back this week, but we don't have Mims, no Roderick Robinson, so we're pretty thin. So I don't know, with the thin roster in mind, John, what are you looking for on Saturday?
Oh man, I'm looking for consistent line play. I'd like to see more Dylan Bell in the running back position. Why are you hesitating?
No, I'm not hesitating. I'm saying, I like that. Yeah, no, I
like that. I mentioned it on the last episode. It felt like that when Georgia needed an explosive play, that Ra Thomas was answering the call in the last game, and I'd like to see that carry forward. I feel like that we're going to see more of him as the season progresses, taking on that AD Mitchell role. He wears number 5, so he's acting like number 5 currently. So I I have a feeling they're going to try to get him the ball more downfield, and I have a feeling that they're going to try to get more vertical with the passing attack as Carson Beck gets more and more confident in his throws deep. But yeah, offensive line consistency, getting those pushes, getting those holes, having our running backs hit the holes, get another 100-yard rusher from Dejon Edwards. And then the only other thing that I would say that, like, I don't know, you and I were messaging about this, but like we're really missing Darnell Washington in order. Well, there's a combination, right? We're missing Darnell Washington, but also Lawson Lucky is hurt. So we have Delph, we have obviously Brock Bowers, but when you are missing a huge blocking component, and then Lawson Lucky is also a big blocker, a big body as well, kind of similar.
Yeah.
So Brock is being asked to do and fill some of that void at the expense of his statistics. Now, that said, I'm hoping that we will figure out ways to get him the ball in higher quantities, because we're going to need him in the future. I think I mentioned on the call, or on the call, I mentioned on the last episode that there were some play looks that we showed where Brock was lined up in the slot and had he gone in different directions with different looks. Like I feel like that they've got to scheme him open like that, so that when they see certain sets and certain formations, personnel, that they've got to be able to take advantage of it and put one deep on Brock.
Yeah. Agreed. No, I think the same. I think with the limited running back core, with presumably no Milton, no Robinson. No, either Robinson. We're already down one Robinson. Look for that the short passing game. That's the extension of the running game that Kirby always likes to talk about. So I don't know. I think we're looking for probably putting the ball in the air a decent amount. And then what can we do there? I guess what I'll be watching for is, can we improve our perimeter blocking? Because that's been lacking. Love to see the receivers step up there and improve that. So that's probably the only other thing I'd add to what you said. All right. Well, why don't we take a moment to remind everyone that season 4 of My God, a Podcast is presented by Oxia Time. So Oxia Time is a Swiss watch company. They make automatic watches. So you don't have to, there's no batteries or anything, right? That's going to wind up on its own. And you've got to check out their 2021 and 2022 Georgia National Championship watch collection. You can get those at Oxia Time. There's also at the College Football Playoff over at their website, over at collegefootballplayoff.com. They have the exclusive 2022 champions blackout watch. So that's another one in the collection as well. Most of the watches come with free engraving on the back, so you can get a message on there, personalize it a bit for yourself. Multiple straps to go there, change out the band. And if you head on over to oxiatime.com, that's AXIATIME.com, and use the code MyGottaPodcast at checkout. You'll also get a presentation box as well. So you have a perfect way to display your watch when it's not on your wrist, when it's at home. So be sure to go check them out. And thanks again to Oxia Time for presenting season 4 of My Gotta Podcast.
Yeah, check them out, and definitely take a look at the back of the watches, particularly on the website. You can see I always like showing people the back of the watches, because usually when people take a hold of these things, they recognize like the weight. Like it's a nice Swiss built watch. It's an automatic watch, right? So on the back you can see all the mechanisms and stuff. So
that is true.
That's usually a pretty nice conversation point as well when people are asking about the watches.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks again to John Canaris and everyone at Oxia Time again. So appreciate it. All right, let's see, John, for the defense when Georgia has the ball. So I was going to mention the offensive coordinator, but we covered that in the fun facts. So let's see. For some players on the offense, so quarterback, Jacob Zeno. He is 98 of 1. I wrote something wrong down. Let me get my stats here. So he's at 80.3% completion percentage, 956 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Okay, yeah, sorry. He's 98 of 122 passing for that. So I don't know, completing a high percentage of his passes there. Let's see. He also is the team's second leading rusher, 30 carries for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then running back leading rusher is Isaiah Jacobs, 27 carries for 127 yards and a touchdown. And then their leading receiver is Tejon Palmer, 12 catches for 148 yards and a touchdown. It did look like they spread the ball around a pretty good bit, though. They've got a lot of receivers with some pretty similar stats there.
Sounds familiar.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Trent Dilfer knows what he's doing there. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, JP, what are you looking for when they have the ball? I have not done extensive film study on these guys. I'm going to give full disclosure there.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest things that we're going to be looking for is just the line being able to get home, right? Like, I don't know that I don't know that I necessarily need them to accumulate a ton of sacks, but like, I'd like to see some disruption along the defensive line. There's a certain element of, I was a little harsh on the secondary last week, I feel like maybe, but if their quarterback is able to sit back there in a clean pocket and his shirt's not dirty, those kinds of things, that's just a recipe for disaster down the road. And these tune-up games are supposed to flush out a lot of those things. We are now in we're now in multiple consecutive tune-up games. I would expect that we should be getting closer to mid-season form across the board, and that extends to the defensive line, that extends to the secondary and our linebacking core as well. It seems like that Michael Williams is kind of establishing himself as that edge guy, that dominant edge rusher that we're talking about that we've been missing since Adam Anderson. He looks the part. I'd like to see him continue get some consistency, and I think that's kind of the key for both of these teams. It's just being consistent moment by moment. Not gonna rage stroke on any of these play calls.
Yeah, for sure. UAB has not played they're 1-2, but also still haven't played crazy level of competition. So they put up 35 points against North Carolina A&T in their first game. They won that 35-6. Put up 35 points in a 49-35 loss to Georgia Southern. Then last week lost 41-21. So 21 is their lowest point total thus far this year. So they've been, scoring some points against the teams that they've been playing. But yeah, I think for me, I don't know. Again, we're gonna go back to pretty vanilla. I would suspect, and see some of that depth. See the snap counts look more like they did in the first 2 weeks than last week is what I'm expecting to see. But again, agreed. Let's see some growth from these guys. Would love to see some more sacks again, honestly.
Yeah, sacks, turnovers. I'll take it. Continued sustainment of the yards allowed, or passing yards allowed, and rushing yards allowed. Like we're only giving up 87.3 yards per game on the ground and 177 yards through the air.
Yeah, I know
that is a recipe for where teams go to die.
I know one thing Kirby did mention in the press conference. He was like, we gave up a rushing touchdown to South Carolina, and that's a no here. Like, we don't give up rushing touchdowns. So they were not happy about that. So maybe we can get back to keeping teams out of the end zone like we used to always do.
Agreed.
And we generally still do. So, all right, let's see a couple of special teams things. So for them, their place kicker is a guy named Matt Quinn. He is 1 for 4 on field goals. on the season. He is perfect on extra points, but only 1 of 4 on field goal attempts. And their punter is Patrick Foley. Not from anywhere exotic, not no Australia or anything there. He's actually a transfer from Arkansas, originally from Omaha, but he's got a 45.3 yard average on punts with a long of 56 yards. So a couple of special teams guys for them.
Okay.
I want to look at our kicking game. Can we kick the ball off and keep it in play, not out of bounds? And I mean, I'd prefer to just not kick field goals. But if we do kick field goals, let's make them. And obviously wouldn't be opposed to the official receiver of My God Podcast, Mr. Muse, getting involved in the return game again. Feels like a good game for that to happen.
Yeah, and even him on the receiving side too. Like he hasn't really been a factor in the last game.
Yeah. We'll let's look for Mackay to return to form.
Do you think that we will see Zirkle doing any kicking this weekend?
I expect to see him kicking off because he has been. I don't think so. I don't think yet. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I don't think we're there yet. And I'll table. I have one other thing to say about that, but I'm going to table it because I think we have a listener question about Mr. Woodring. So
okay.
All right. Why don't we move on that note? Why don't we move on to listener questions, which this season are brought to you by Working Web Media. So, if you have a small business and you need some help with your online presence, need a website, go check them out. They did the newly redesigned mygodapodcast.com for us. We're very pleased with the site, much happier, huge upgrade over what we had before, not only on the site itself, but also the store. So able to work with them, get a new My God Podcast store set up. So you can go check that out at mygodapodcast.com/store as well. But again, if you need any help with your online presence, be sure to check them out at workingwebmedia.com/dogs. And then they will know that we sent you their way. All right, JP, first up, we got our buddy Brett Belding. He said 2 for today. Number 1, will these slow starts get fixed, or is it just part of this team's identity? What do you think there?
I mean, I think that we're just figuring things out. I mean, you look at last season and it's similar. It was a similar approach. Like we were all kind of wondering like what was going on, but they figured things out. Right now we're averaging more points than we were last year. So if that trend continues, then I like our chances.
Yeah. And I think, again, like this week, well, the defense had been starting fast. So it was more of an offensive question, I suppose. And again, like this game, I actually, that first drive pretty good until the red zone. So I think we clean up the red zone and we're good there. I don't think it's an identity thing. I agree with you. I think, we were excited about the way the schedule broke to break in the new players, the new offense. I mean, new quarterback, bunch of new receivers, new linemen and everything, a new offensive coordinator. So let's give them time to gel. I don't think it's the identity though. And then Brett's second question, John, how do you lose an F-35?
Dude, don't get me started on that. Like that, we can get really squirred on that. Like, how do you build I saw $80 to $200 million piece of warfare and lose it over freaking South Carolina? I mean, Jim, is Gaffney traffic that bad?
Hey, it's not that far from Fripp, I believe, because they were where all this happened, because they had tagged some Buford accounts from what I saw on Twitter. My joke to Lily was this: I think this might be the plot of the next season of Outer Banks. That's going to be what they're looking for the next season.
John Boy's commandeering the F-35.
That sounds right in line with what they're going to do. All right.
Hold on. We're going to go Mach 5.
Yeah. I like that you said John Boy. It is John B, but I think maybe it should have been John B.
Sorry.
I like that was a good mistake. I liked it. All right. 51 to 7 GATA says UAB has given up 49 points to Georgia Southern and 41 to Louisiana, not LSU, University of Louisiana. How many points do the Dogs need to score in the first half to make us feel better about the slow starts? This was paired well. So all right, we'll pause there before his next question.
So here's the thing that I'm going to say, and maybe we'll circle back to what Brett was asking.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a couple of things wrapped up in this. Number one, you got a slow start. Number two, I actually think that the biggest culprit of the slow start is actually the running clock.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. It's because if you go out and you have basically a 3-and-out, or you have a little bit of a drive and kick it, like they have a little bit of drive, like basically every game thus far. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm not like charting this or anything, but it feels like that we've only had one possession in the first quarter.
Yeah. So when you kick off, that seems to be how it is now. I mean, that definitely was it against South Carolina. We had, and they only had like 1.5 from what I remember. Like their second possession, we changed from first to second quarter during their second possession.
Right.
So yeah, it's going fast, man.
I don't know. Like, so like to a certain extent, like you can't get behind, because if you don't, then the possessions are that much more, contracted or constricted. And I don't know, man. It feels clock related is all I gotta say about it. And I hate the running clock.
Well, I want to skip ahead to one of our other questions just to tie it in, because he had 2 questions anyway. So John Michael D had said, how awful did the new clock rules feel against South Carolina? Only 4 first half possessions, but 18 hours of commercials is just awful. I'll add there, because I've seen a lot of people, people are starting to complain about it more and more online. And I've seen a lot of people say like, why, and, not understanding why we're doing it. And I'd said it before, and I went back today to look back at my notes from when I went to see Kirby speak with Greg. And again, I found out, like, he specifically said, with the season getting extended with playoff expansion, he said, I'm on the rules committee and we want to get the number of plays per game down by making these rules changes. Like, that is the goal. Less plays per game. So you're shortening the game plays wise, because players are going to play more games. So for the teams that go all the way through the playoff, play more games, hopefully over the span of the season, they're not playing that many more plays than they were in the past. So that is the why. That's the why they're doing it. What stings about it is that TV is injecting more commercials. And so you're not shortening the duration of a game. You're just getting less football during the same time window. So that does stink.
Yeah. I can't imagine what that must feel like in the stadium. The stadium crews are probably having to get really creative. Have you had any like new like little segments or anything like that? To like inject like
right
sure that like Joe Ma and Pa Kettle being honored during a commercial break is being extended.
So those things are still happening. There actually is a new thing. There is a new there's like a selfie cam. And so you scan a QR code off the Jumbotron onto your phone. And
I've seen this at the Atlanta United games.
Yeah. And then you get linked up to it, and then your camera's linked up. And so you may be able to get on the Jumbotron through your own phone's camera instead of having to get on the camera. My niece actually got on the Jumbotron from that in the Ball State game.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the only one I've noticed, John. There may have been other things, but that's the only one I can remember.
Yeah, what it's doing is it's creating a learning curve that is much steeper than in the past. So if in the past you had like this chess match that would happen early in the game where they'd be like, okay, there'd be some poking and prodding. I think back to like the triple option, like maybe this is like a death knell for the triple option, because that's something that the Codfish would always do, is like they would get their first few possessions would be kind of a wash until they figured out like where the assignments were, and from there they'd run their offense. So like now you can't really do that. You can't waste possessions anymore. So if you have a team that's struggling particularly at the quarterback position, then your possessions are going to be that much more precious. So It probably just feels inflated.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's see. I'm going to table the rest of 51-7 GAT's question. I'm going to come back to that in a minute because we had some overlap again. Actually, we can go ahead and do that now. So he wanted to know about black jerseys. So he said, how many people this week will ask Coach Smart, have you considered using the black jerseys this week? And that was the first part of Bobby Wilson's question was, should we wear the black jerseys Saturday night for the 7:30 start? And when he added in, why will Kirby absolutely make sure we don't? LOL. I'll answer that. I mean, one thing I noticed in the press conference, John, is that didn't come up, at least from anything I saw. No one asked Kirby, are you going to wear black jerseys in the night game? So I think maybe the press has learned not to ask him. So that's the first thing. And I know the reason why, and not to use his sayings, keep the main thing the main thing. He believes these things, and to Kirby, that is a distraction. So that's why he's not going to all of a sudden do that in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be nice. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Let's see. Bobby's other one. What is the best tailgate bourbon? And then he said, have fun, guys, and I look forward to this portion of the podcast, which I don't know. I don't know. Does Bobby not look forward to the other portions of the podcast? Come on, Bobby. No, just kidding. What's your best tailgate bourbon, John?
Best tailgate bourbon. I mean, you kind of have the Ancient Age at Greg's tailgate, and then like the Weller Special Reserve is another one for the overall. Eagle Rare's got to be up there too. Just one of those nice, like fairly easy to find. You don't feel too bad about mixing it into a mixture drink. And they're relatively inexpensive. Maybe not so much on the Eagle Rare, but
I was gonna say Buffalo Trace
would be another good.
Buffalo Trace is a good one. Yeah,
sure.
I mean, hard to find for me, but relatively speaking, and definitely not expensive. I mean, as long as it retails under $30. So
I would say it's more centered around a price point for me as far as like a quote unquote go-to bourbon. Yeah. And I would say that hovering right around that $30 to $40 bourbon is going to be my ceiling for a tailgate bourbon. Although you and John busted out Weller 12 at the last one, so geez Louise, raising the bar.
Busted out. We didn't bring it. It was actually a cock who brought that.
What?
So shout out USC engineer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
missed it.
Yeah, he brought that. So appreciate it. Yeah. He and I actually had on the same shirt, but I had the Georgia version and he had a South Carolina version. It was pretty funny.
Wait, which one did you have? Was it the dog bone one or?
It was the tour logo on reserve.
Okay.
But then it had the standing bulldog, and then his was the same polo, but it had the South Carolina logo on it.
Had feathers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So the only other thing I was going to add there was, I believe it was in LA at the Natty. Bobby was making bourbon and Cokes with Buffalo Trace. And I made a joke about like mixing Buffalo Trace instead of drinking it straight. And Bobby was like, Jim, it's too damn early. I'm not drinking this straight. Like, it was amazing. So Bobby set me straight. Awesome. I was like, okay. Glad to know. Thanks, Bobby. Cool. All right. Let's see. I skipped. Well, let me go back up one, John, in our notes. So Dwight, he had mentioned the sluggish starts, but said, will it change under the lights of a true night game? You think? I don't know. I like your theory. I like your theory on it being just less possessions. So I would love to see him come out of the gates under the lights though. That'd be pretty sweet.
Just guns blazing, like like lad, just guns blazing.
Exactly. And then Dwight wants to know what the spread is for the first quarter, and will the Dogs cover it?
I don't know what is. How do you even figure that out? Or
I don't know. No,
I'm
that's
not
what
a,
he's saying. I think he wants us to set it, John.
I'm not a degenerate gambler, so I don't know these things. But based on my math, the spread is what 40 something points.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just let's just
So it's gonna say 10 something. I can do
split the
40 divided
baby.
by 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
I
if it's 10, let's say it's at 10 and a half. I think we could cover that.
think we can cover. Yeah.
Okay.
I hit the over on that one.
Okay.
The I think that someone had asked the question like how many points do we need to score or whatever, right? Yeah, I would say like if you really wanted to put the game out of sight and put it to bed early, like 21.
Okay. Okay.
21 points in the first quarter would probably shut a lot of people up.
Yeah. Oh
Bobo.
yeah, that was 51 to 70 ATAs. How much do we need to score in the first half to make us feel better about the slow starts? Yeah.
Bobo would be up there like,
So that's 21. That's your number. That's your first half number for that. I think that's fair.
Well, I thought it was first quarter.
Dwight was first quarter, 51 to 70 ATA was first half.
Okay, first half. Yeah, I would say 21 first quarter would shut a lot of people up. 30 first half.
I like it. I like how you're thinking here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Bobo, if we were up 30 to nothing at halftime, Bobo would be up there like, how does my stink taste?
Nice. All right. I was debating like how do we need to set guardrails for how far off the rails this one goes, John? And you probably already know what I'm going to talk about. John Michael D. He had started off with the clock rules, but then he said, following up, and totally random 2-part question: how soon can Carter do dual enrollment on college courses, and can dual enrollees participate in athletics, say kicking field goals under 35 yards?
I'm not sure about that. I'd have to investigate that one, but he's a good ways off. We did talk about going the kicking route because he's not playing soccer anymore. And we did see there was a big news story about his last name's Aubrey and I can't remember his first name, but it's a guy that was drafted by a Toronto MLS team a few years ago before COVID. Drafted pretty highly, but like a lot of guys, they get drafted. It didn't really pan out for him. A few years later, he got cut. The league minimum for MLS was like, I want to say it's like $75,000, something like that, 45,000, something absurd for a pro athlete. And so I guess that somewhere along the line, like he saw some kicking, somebody was doing some kicking, and his wife was like, "Yeah, you could do that." And he decided during COVID to like hire a kicking coach and became a kicker. And then he tried out for the Dallas Cowboys and made the roster spot. I don't know if he's actually how he's doing or whatever, but he made a roster spot, which is a $750,000 league minimum.
Yeah. Yeah.
So guy gets cut in MLS and is making a lot of money just to sit the bench, even for an NFL team is pretty phenomenal.
So I think that answers was his follow-up, which that was part I couldn't find it. I didn't have it in the notes, but I knew he had asked it. So I just tracked it down on Twitter. So he said the better future Carter story is A, making it to the starting keeper for a USMNT match, or B, being a kicker for Kirby in Athens.
Yes, I would say the kicker for Kirby in Athens would be at this point in time more realistic because we had such a toxic experience with soccer last year. Those elite teams, things can get really dicey, as I've seen.
Right.
And he just didn't want to play anymore. So unfortunately, much to my chagrin, he's pretty much done with soccer at this point.
Well, we've talked about it. I can relate there. Soccer ended just one year earlier for us than you. Well, yeah, whatever. Last season we had no soccer. It was the first season of no soccer for us since youth soccer began. So We have thoughts. That's for the podcast with you and British Bulldog.
Yeah, we can start the soccer podcast. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Ryder Hayes said, "Why do people always make schedule assumptions before seasons start? Missouri, Florida, Auburn, Ole Miss, and Kentucky all look like harder games than most thought going into the season. Still not a crazy schedule, but way more interesting already." Totally agree, Ryder. I think we had talked about in the like preseason and like our season preview, just the fact that there's always like the game that kind of comes out of nowhere, right? And you end up like some game that you weren't really thinking about preseason ends up the game where game day is coming to town, right? And here again, short season, we're not super far into it, but 3 games in, these aren't the teams that you would maybe think that would be undefeated still. So agreed, man. I mean, between that, the way these teams are looking, just the landscape of college football, it's been kind of crazy. All the injuries we've got. I mean, it's not an easy schedule. And the other thing everyone had always said was the schedule looked so easy because Georgia was playing it, like give it to somebody else. And it doesn't look so easy anymore. So I totally agree. You got to wait on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we're still kind of early to really like make one. It's still kind of early, like I said, because I mean, you got teams like I talked about in the last episode. You got Colorado, whose big tests aren't until the end of the season.
Yeah,
and by that point, those teams will also be vetted out.
Yep,
so
for sure.
It's a fair criticism of the whole ranking situation and making any kind of snap judgments, particularly about the top 10, even top 25, making any kind of snap judgments about what their schedules look like. I mean, if you look at the strength of schedule, like the strength of schedule right now, like, I mean, South Carolina had the toughest thing in Mississippi State, Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, Missouri. The SEC occupies the top 6 of strength of schedule, and 1, 2, 3 of those teams, 3 each from the East and the West. So it's not just the East and it's not just the West.
Yeah. So we'll let it play out even a little bit further to see how all those look. But I don't know, man. Yeah, it definitely looks tougher now. We're always looking at the beginning of the season like everything is like it was at the end of last season, and it's not. We're seeing that with us, and we need to remember that with the turnover of the rosters in college football, right? I mean, just you've got it naturally with kids graduating anyway, but it's even more so now. I mean, the roster turnover is crazy across college football when you factor in the transfer portal on top of just kids graduating, moving on. So.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that Simpsons meme of Grandpa Simpson walking into the gentleman's club with Bart as the attendant. He walks in and then immediately turns around and walks out.
Yeah. Exactly. Nice. All right, let's see. Fletcher Proctor. Okay, this is where Fletcher said, "Can Thorson kick? We may have given Payday a nickname too prematurely."
We jinxed him, didn't we?
So this is where I was going to say, and I don't think I said this on the review, but in the post game, I don't think this was on Bulldog Brunch. I think this was in the post game call-in show Saturday night. Kevin Butler was pretty adamant that Woodring needs a kicking coach, and there's not a kicking specific coach. We've got a special teams coach on the staff, but that's not the same as a kicking coach. And he feels like there are some things going on with his kick that a kicking coach could correct. We saw the difference that Kevin Butler made with Rodrigo Blankenship back when Kevin Butler was a grad assistant student coach for Georgia. So I'm not gonna doubt him there. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, seriously. I guess that it's kind of crazy that he would not have a coach, right?
I mean, not have a kicking coach. I mean, that's the thing though. Like most schools don't. Most schools don't have like a specific kicking coach.
Well, but like, isn't that because the kids usually have like
a private coach? Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
he may have a private coach, but I don't know. But Butler's point was Georgia needs a kicking coach on the staff. I think he's lobbying for himself to get his job back, John, honestly.
I would welcome it. I mean, Kirby, pay the man.
Yeah, seriously.
Because when he came on, I feel like we turned around. Who was it that he came on and coached when he came on for that? Like, was it a season or two?
Yeah, I just said it.
Oh,
JP,
sorry.
you got to get out of the Dog Central text thread. You're killing me. Rodrigo Blankenship.
Yeah, hot rod.
Yeah. So, all right. Fletcher's other question was also if Trent Dilfer can be a head coach, what former Georgia quarterback should be a head coach? And he's got some candidates. He's got Joe Tereshinski III.
Wait, what? that feels like it came out of nowhere.
Fatone Balta. Christian LeMay.
These are obviously like sarcastic ones, right?
Christian LeMay. Logan Gray coaching special teams, or Jacob Park. Those were his. Do you remember Jacob Park?
I do. I remember being excited about Jacob Park.
Yeah, me too.
I remember being excited about Logan Gray. Like, I remember all those guys. Christian LeMay.
Dude, Christian LeMay threw a pretty ball. I'm just saying. He did. He had a nice spiral. He's a Charlotte kid. But at any rate, I don't know. I mean, like on a serious note, I guess I kind of always thought David Green would have maybe gone into coaching. But to my knowledge, he didn't.
I don't think he did. Yeah. I mean, he definitely works at my buddy's old company, doing insurance. Like we all kind of joked about, like
we thought Stetson was going to be doing.
That was what Stetson was going to be doing.
Yeah.
Which he may still trend that way. I mean, we can't. Don't we have Bobo? I mean, he's here. Surprise! Sorry.
The best is that like Fletcher asked that question, and when he listens back to this, he's probably just sitting there like waiting, like, are they gonna freaking say Bobo? Like, what is taking them so long?
Yeah.
So that's the answer. Okay, we can move, and that's it for the listener question.
Thanks, I assumed that he was going for like someone like different, like I don't know.
I don't know. I like how they could all coach something Gray specific though, especially Logan Gray, like fair catch coordinator, obviously, because I mean that's what we used him for apparently.
Right. I mean, I guess if I was being serious about it, I'd say that like he's probably going to be making too much money, but Matt Stafford probably has the most,
Yeah, I mean, he's got the knowledge.
He's got the knowledge base. He's got the Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't think that like Trent Dilfer went the whole, he started an academy, basically high school, right, and kind of worked his way up.
Right. Right.
I don't think Stafford's going to go that route.
No, I think he'll ride off into the sunset whenever he's done. I believe my guess. No, but you nailed it. The answer is Mike Bobo. Well done.
Yes.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It is time for Coach Trillbill's over-unders UAB edition. To recap, we were tied going into last week, and we picked all the same picks last week, so we are still tied. I feel like we should go with like golf rules. So you went first last time. We tied, so it's still your choice. So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Oh, we're gonna do golf rules.
I feel like that makes sense.
Okay, that's fine.
So, but your choice. You want to kick us off, or you want me to?
Well, if it's my honors, then I'll go first.
Okay. Over under. We'll start off with the offense as we always do. Over under 2.5 rushing touchdowns for the Georgia offense.
Over.
Oh my gosh, we're off to a horrible start. Over. Running backs with 50 plus rushing yards. Over under 1.5. I'm gonna go over.
I'm also gonna go over.
Okay. And then your turn. Over under 285 yards. Passing.
Yeah, I'm gonna smash the over.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're the same on the offense. Let's see if we can mix it up here. My turn for the defense. Over under 225 yards passing allowed. Man, and I don't even know. I did zero research here. I'm gonna go. Do you know what they're averaging? Why am I asking you these questions?
I don't.
I'll go over.
You think they're gonna go over?
That's what I'm going with. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna go under.
Okay. Oh, we have to. Okay, there we go. All right. Over under 95 yards rushing allowed. Over to you.
Over to me. I'm gonna go under.
Okay. Man, do I just disagree with you just to disagree again? I do. Man, John, you're killing me here. I'm gonna go over to spice it up a little bit.
Okay.
And then over under 2.5 sacks. I feel like that is a good number. Well, we have 2 last week. And that was the first of any sacks. So the kid runs a lot. I'm gonna go under.
I'm gonna go over.
Okay. Over under 2.5 field goals attempted for Georgia. This is the special teams question.
Special teams question. Is it over to me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go under.
Under. Okay. Man, I really wanted to go under here because I wanted to say we're not kicking field goals. We're scoring touchdowns. So I'm going to stick with that. Stick to that under. And then miscellaneous. Finally, a night game tweets over under 100. I'm going to go under.
Under?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need my logic?
Why?
Because this is we should be saying finally because we just had night game 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Finally a night game. Yeah, I like it. With that, I'll go under.
Okay. Amazing.
You sold me.
All right. Thanks as always to Coach Trillbill. We got you some variety this week. So Coach will have some things to actually track. I decided not to stick to my guns of writing everything down in advance. So
basically we have things going in opposite directions.
We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to see what happens with this. All right. So let's go to the predictions. So for this game, shout out to Chapel Bell Curve guys and Doc Quant. So CBC R2 Sam predicts Georgia to win this game 42.3 to 7.9. If you look at the spread over at OddsShark, Georgia is a 41.5 point favorite with an over under of 54. That gives an implied score of Georgia 47.75 to UAB 6.25. And then their predicted score is Georgia 42.8 to UAB 29.4. That would be a win, not a cover for Georgia, and the over. JP, what do you got? Or do I need to go?
I don't know. Is it your go or is it mine?
I don't know that it matters. I don't think this matters.
Okay. Okay, so the implied score
is it's basically like 48 to 6. 47.75 to 6.25.
Right. Golly, why is the predicted score going so sideways here?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
all right. So here's the thing. I wonder if the algorithms have factored in the less plays, because I just don't see how the math would add up to have 43, basically a 43-30 game here, or for this particular matchup, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 45-10.
Okay. I like it. Yeah, that is a lot. They think they're going to score like 30 points.
30
I actually
points.
just clicked on the link again to make sure I didn't like write it down
Did you copy it
wrong.
over
And
wrong?
I didn't. That I double checked it. That is what they have. So that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I'll go 42-7, Georgia. So
42-7.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just I don't know. Let's come out. Let's get some vertical pass game going on.
So you shaded under CBCR2 and I shaded over.
I didn't even really think about it that way, but yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
I was told there would be no math.
Yeah, seriously. I did. I don't know. You want to look a little bit around the country?
It's a pretty big weekend, so might as well.
Yeah. So I threw in our show notes a graphic from a friend of the show, John Tweed Sports. I mentioned he was at the game with me this past weekend, but he has another new podcast, the Speak Easy Sports Show, and they put together a handy graphic that I'm using here. John was calling it Separation Saturday. So you got I don't know if we have to go through all these, but you got game day in South Bend for Ohio State at Notre Dame. Ohio State number 6, Notre Dame number 9. I'm excited about that one. Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest transfer to Notre Dame. He was from like Charlotte area. Went to Davidson Day High School, I believe, and then transferred out the Carolina coast when the coach moved out there, which was Will Greer's dad, by the way. He went and followed him in high school. He was on that QB1 show that Fromm was on one of those seasons. Was putting up huge numbers his entire career at Wake Forest, and now he's doing it again at Notre Dame. I am curious. I like to throw out like a lot of like the not believing in Notre Dame and throw out Notre Dame hate. But I'm interested to see this one.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, you've got a team that's coached by a former Ohio State player. So there's an element of like that going on there.
Yeah, and remember when he's
also from Ohio too. So like there's a big like, again with the regional, like this guy, Notre Dame obviously has the long history, but like their head coach has a long history in this area in Ohio.
Yeah, and remember when I know it's something you had called out when we were watching the Peach Bowl, the COVID year Peach Bowl against Cincinnati. Because remember, he was Cincinnati's defensive coordinator in that game, and they were like zooming in on him the whole time. Had a lot of camera shots on him. We're like, what's going on? What's going on with this? And now fast forward, here we are, head coach at Notre Dame. So
yeah, here we are. Now he's the head coach of one of the most storied programs in the country, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what Ryan Day coaching in big games. I don't know. I don't really know what to think.
What do you like in that game?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want Notre Dame to win. I'm kind of pulling for Hartman, so I'll go with Notre Dame. But that's more of a hard thing.
I'm going to go Notre Dame as well.
Okay.
I would just to throw more chaos in because actually maybe not. I don't know. What is Notre Dame's schedule like after this? Because isn't there like the way that their schedule usually sets up is like they have like one tough game, and then if they win that one, basically they're in the college football conversation.
You want to finagle this to keep them out of the CFP?
Yeah. Because they're usually good for like a complete clunker. Although they have Duke on the schedule next week.
Dude, I mean, that's not nothing.
They got USC. Yeah, I guess they have some other opportunities to stumble, but I would not be upset to see them take down Ohio State. Let's just say that.
Yeah. No, you're right though. Yeah, they don't have a whole lot left. Pitt at Clemson. Yeah. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest one of their season. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we don't want that. I'm still going to go with them. I'm going to go with them. I mean, FSU at Clemson, I don't know. Like you would have thought that was probably going to be a pretty big blowout after the way it started, but FSU really struggled with Boston College last week. So I don't know. And in Death Valley.
In Death Valley, yeah.
I mean, I'd still lean Clemson, but
you have to like Clemson at home.
I meant FSU. What did I say? I said lean Clemson. I meant I'm going to lean Florida State. But
okay, yeah. I mean, I kind of like Clemson at home. I feel like that it's not going to be lost on Dabo that if he loses this game, like it's going to bring into doubt there's going to be a lot of questions that he's going to have to answer to if he loses this game.
But then also questions that cousin Sammy has to answer.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, Sammy, what's going on, dude?
All right. The one that I know you really want to talk about, John.
Colorado at Oregon.
The Deion hype train goes to Oregon to take on
Kirby's coaching tree.
Dan Lanning. Yep. And Bo Nix. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like Bo Nix, he's looking good. He's looking healthy. This might be the year.
The high flying prime time versus the like, I don't know, Kirby's Death March Junior.
This one is interesting. So you've got multiple levels there. So number one, like, I remember like Oregon fans were really mad at Dan Lanning last year after we blew them out in the opener because he said like, look, we don't have as good players as Georgia, which was just being like realistic. Right. So some folks got mad right away, but then they really came on last year. So you've got that. We've got the fast start that Colorado has, but then we've also got Dan Lanning's preseason comments when we found out that Colorado was leaving the Pac-12 and he was asked to comment on it. And it was something along the lines of like, what has Colorado ever done in the Pac-12? Like, do you remember them ever winning anything? Like, cause I don't. So Deion's going to be using that this week to motivate his guys.
Oh, 1,000% he's going to be doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that they're just going to run into the buzzsaw that he's built over there. So that's just my 2 cents.
So you've got Oregon.
I like Oregon in this game.
I do too. Also to add on top of that, which, you informed me about Travis Hunter. I don't know. Like, have we heard any update on him? Because if he can't go.
I haven't looked into it, but we can run a quick googly search. He's out 3 weeks.
Man, that stinks. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that stinks. I wasn't a fan of that hit, but
I ain't gonna help him.
No, all the more reason to take Oregon.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess the only other one I definitely would want to talk about was Ole Miss at Alabama. So again, with the Fighting Hunters, Ole Miss goes to Bama. I don't know if you saw, Bama has made a quarterback change again, and today Saban announced that they're going back to Milroe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did you see Marler's conspiracy theory?
What was his conspiracy theory?
It was basically that like Saban was doing like Jedi mind tricks, and it was like addition by subtraction or something kind of deal where basically he made everyone see, because everyone was like, change the quarterback. And so he did it against a team he knew they could beat where it didn't matter who the quarterback was.
Right.
And now he's like, see,
I told you.
they go back to Milroe.
These guys suck.
So, man, I don't know what to think here. I know.
I like Ole Miss for this game, dude.
Do you?
This game has like so many undertones of like, master and commander kind of thing, or master and learner situation. And I believe Lane's beaten him before, right?
Has he? So I know Jimbo. So for the whole former assistant thing, you got Jimbo Fisher, you got Kirby. I thought when he lost to Ole Miss, it was Hugh Freeze was the coach.
Yeah,
from my recollection. And then when Lane was at Tennessee, they came close, but never pulled it off. So I don't believe so. I think this would be the
He
first
has
time for
not.
Lane.
You're right. Since
Yeah.
since he's been at Ole Miss, he has failed to beat his old head coach. So, of all of the years to do so, this would be one to do. Yeah, Tuscaloosa apparently is not a tough place to play in anymore.
not will this data be full before kickoff?
Well, I mean, it's not so much that, but like, they've been playing, they haven't been playing all that great lately. And if they're talking about going to Milrow, here's the thing. So Ole Miss is known for getting on opponents and getting like they're built on speed, right? They're built on scoring quickly. Yeah. If Alabama can't keep up with Ole Miss, I mean, this could easily get ugly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Bama. I think Bama wins here. And my reminder is they don't have a conference loss yet. So I don't know. Still undefeated in the SEC. I think sorry, Hunter, but I think that'll stay true this weekend.
I don't think that he would fault you for that pick.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I would say that there's Bama's down, and if you're going to take advantage of them, this year is going to be the year.
Yeah, no, agreed. Any of these other games that were on here jump out to you?
Oregon State's putting together a pretty decent defense. That could be interesting as we roll through that conference schedule. Penn State's putting together a bit of a run here. They're itching to crack into the top four. I personally cannot stand James Franklin, so I'm hoping that they have a embarrassing loss at home.
So that's Iowa, Penn State,
Iowa, Penn State, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see, like, Iowa just doesn't score enough points. So I don't like James Franklin either, but I'll go with Iowa on that one.
I didn't say who I thought was going to win.
You just want you want them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
Yes.
I gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, that was fun.
It was fun. We're getting we're getting deep into our homestand here.
First time, I think I forgot to say this earlier. First time the season has opened with 4 straight home games since 1999. So my sophomore year, back when Quincy Carter was the quarterback and
nice.
Coach Downen. So been a long time since
we've got some streaks still on the line.
Yeah.
But what's your are you for sure in? You're for sure out? Like you're still deciding?
Oh yeah. So I haven't like 100% decided yet. So like my dad's got the surgery Tuesday.
See how that goes.
Yeah, but I mean, they said, if we want to come on down. So I'll probably make the call by Wednesday or Thursday. If I do, I would say I probably wouldn't head down till Saturday morning, and skip the 2-night trip for this one. Get up Saturday morning, drive down, get over in time to tailgate with the later kickoff, and then just stay Saturday night and head home Sunday.
Right.
That would be the move if I do it. But we'd probably need to convince someone to come with me and not do the drive solo again. So. Although apparently I could have carpooled. I think I told you this. I think after we hit stop, one of Kim's coworkers and a friend of ours,
right.
Kelly and her husband Jason, I saw them on 441 leaving Athens on Sunday, and I was like, oh man, I guess I should have carpooled them. So I don't know, Kelly. Maybe I just need to catch a ride with y'all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just take that giant bus.
Right. Exactly. So. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I'm not 100% yet. So I'll make a call. I'll let you know what the decision is.
So if you are at home, if you did decide not to go, what's the move at home? What's on the menu?
So there'll obviously be the bean dip going. But with it being the 7:30 kickoff, like I would be able to actually like cook everything before.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't done much on the big green egg lately. So
Ooh.
probably something on the egg. The kids are never going to turn down hamburgers. So maybe a nice cheeseburger and put some ketchup on it.
Cheeseburger with ketchup. I like it. I might feeling cute. I might trigger some folks.
Yeah, yeah. I can annoy you by throwing a pickle on the side. So
Yes. I've been dabbling in the pickles, not eating them, but I've been like making Carter's lunches in the mornings after the kids go, because he has like a late start. So like there's a gap of about an hour that I have between when he has to go to school and when everybody else has to go to school. So
Gotcha.
I usually throw him a salad and make his lunch. I told him he's got 2 freebies that I'll make his lunch for him, and then otherwise he's got to get up and make it himself.
Nice.
2 freebies a week.
Okay.
Try to help the kids get out the door and make them bus. But yeah,
Hey.
I have to put pickles on his sandwiches, which is like, if you know me, and you do, it goes against every fiber of my being to put my like finger on any of that stuff.
Oh, dude, pickles are so good. Pickles are so good. And
so
that's
terrible.
That's where I think
Let us
you'll
know,
be
dear friends. Are you team pickle or are you not team pickle?
That's where you'll be okay with the Chick-fil-A pimento cheese, because it has pickled jalapenos, not pickles.
This is true.
Have you had it yet?
I have. I had it for the was it Ball State?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we talked about that. Apologies.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I
did. I have in the interim. Sorry to caveat off of this, but like pro tip: if you are interested in doing the pimento cheese sandwich again from Chick-fil-A, ask for it with spicy chicken.
Oh my gosh, Kim's gonna die, because when I ordered it, she asked me if I wanted it with spicy chicken or not, and I was like, I just want what's on the menu, and I like got all frustrated. I was like, well, what is on the menu? Because I remembered it because it has like a honey on it or something. I was like, I want it as it's written.
To be fair, I did too to begin with. I'm like,
okay,
no, just give it to me straight up. Like you guys slaved over this for however long, because I actually know guys that are, Chick-fil-A being based in Atlanta, and our church has a lot of folks that go, in our area has a lot of folks that work at Chick-fil-A.
Gotcha.
I know some folks that work in product development over there, and so I've heard about this, knew that it was coming.
Gotcha.
But you guys spent all this time putting it together, so like might as well try it straight up, kind of like bourbon. Like usually if it's a new bourbon, I'll try it without ice, and then I'll do it how I like it,
Gotcha. All right, well, I talked through that. What's on the menu for you then, if you're at home?
Well, if I'm home,
but you probably won't be, because you might be traveling anyways.
Yeah, we'll definitely be traveling. Okay. So probably, I don't know, maybe stop at Buc-ee's.
Nice.
See, I think we can do that. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know if it's.
I don't know if you'll be able to or not. You have to look at it.
Realistic. Yeah, I don't know if it's realistic or not, but like I don't know, somewhere on the road, probably Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Don't get the pimento cheese while you're driving.
So
I learned that Friday night. I made that mistake this past weekend. So,
what I will say is that we did get a recipe from Paul's birthday party. There was a dip that was made that was like the talk of the party.
Okay.
That I am 1,000% going to make. It's like some kind of like, I don't know, it has the consistency of pimento cheese, but it's not pimento cheese, and it's got bacon, and it's got like jelly stuff in it. I don't know, man. It was so good.
Got it. Nice. Cool. All right, man. Well, we'll keep in touch throughout the week. Maybe I'll see you in Athens. If not, we'll talk through the weekend, and hope you guys have a good trip though for your fall break.
Yes, I appreciate it. Yep. Just got to figure out the lodging. If I can figure out lodging, I can make it happen.
Gotcha. Good deal.
So if you have a place in Athens and you're not using it, let me know.
Nice. Cool, man.
We'll see, man. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.